It looks like a marine biologist may have recently discovered a new species of manta ray. Sources tell us that the scientist plans to name this latest manta ray after Man Ray, the famous Surrealist artist, who also influenced the Dada art movement. Man Ray is not alone. Many scientists get a kick out of naming new species after famous individuals, such as an enormous prehistoric worm named after Motorhead vocalist Lemmy Kilmister. Later, we'll examine additional celebrity-named species to put the potential new Man Ray manta ray into historical perspective. You will also learn how you can get to name a new species yourself. From out of the ocean and into the art exhibit. Manta rays can grow up to 23 feet in length with a wingspan of 29 feet. They live in warm, tropical, and subtropical waters across the planet. Manta rays are filter feeders that subsist on zooplankton. They have the biggest brains of all the world's fish, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Manta rays enjoy a lifespan of up to about 40 years, but their lives can be cut short by fishermen capturing them for dinner, as well as from accidents when the creatures are injured by boat propellers and other equipment. Pollution is another threat against manta rays. These creatures live in groups of about 100 to as many as 1,500 individuals, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration fisheries. Near-shore concentrations of manta rays are highest off of the coast of northeastern Florida in April. And NOAA estimates that Ecuador is currently the site of the world's largest population of giant manta rays. For context about this discovery of a new Man Ray manta ray, one of the most recent sightings of a potentially novel manta ray species occurred in 2018 off of the coast of Palm Beach, Florida. Today, scientists do not have enough data about how many manta rays currently live in our oceans worldwide, but the animals are considered threatened and they have a protected status. So, it's great news that we may have a new manta ray species in our midst after scientists confirm this discovery. In a moment, we will delve into why Man Ray was such an important artist, especially among surrealists and Dadaists. This will help us understand why a marine biologist would want to name a new species of manta ray after Man Ray in his honor. For now, many details about the supposed new manta ray are still being kept confidential, with researchers working under a non-disclosure agreement. What we know now about the new possible manta ray species discovery is that some scientists from a European marine bioscience consortium headed out in an oceanic research vessel last year. And within a few months, sometime during the summer when the waters were warmer, one of the graduate students assigned to the team apparently discovered the new manta ray species. Since their work is privately funded, there is no obligation for the scientists to reveal details about the novel manta ray species until they are ready to make the information public in a peer-reviewed scientific journal. One of the best things about discovering a new animal species is that you get to name the creature. Sources did reveal that the marine biologist who identified this latest manta ray discovery is preparing to call the new creature Man Ray after the famous artist. This scientist had minored in art history while studying marine biology at university. He became a big fan of Man Ray and admired his creative instincts. Man Ray was an influential member of the Dada and Surrealist art movements. He was born August 27, 1890, with the name Emanuel Radnitsky, and died November 18, 1976, in Paris. Because of rising anti-Semitism fears at the turn of the century, his family changed their last name from Radnitsky to Ray around 1911. And soon after, Emanuel changed his nickname from Manny to Man. In 1922, Man Ray traveled from New York to Paris to begin producing a new art form he called Rayographs, which he created by putting objects on photosensitive paper and exposing them to the sun. This allowed him to make creative images without using a camera. In addition to his groundbreaking work in photography, he went on to create many classic surreal works of art. The Gift is one of Man Ray's most iconic works. He made it by gluing brass tacks to the business end of a flat iron. It's often admired by people who hate having to iron their clothing for work. In Glass Tears, Man Ray posed a female mannequin with large glass beads on her face to resemble oversized tears. For the photo Ingres's Violin, Man Ray painted violin F holes onto a photo for placement on the back of a model whose name was Kiki. These are just a few examples of Man Ray's offbeat creativity. As Man Ray explained, "I paint what cannot be photographed, that which comes from the imagination, or from dreams, or from an unconscious drive." And the photographs that marine biologists take of new animal species, such as manta rays, are the basis for identifying novel discoveries, which the scientists are then allowed to name. As for the naming rights to an animal, sometimes researchers will give a species the name of an historical figure to honor that person. Other times, they name the species after themselves or a friend or family member. And in today's social media-fueled world, more scientists are naming new species after celebrities, such as a horsefly named after Beyoncé. Of course, there are rules that you must follow when naming a new species. The basic format of a scientific name has two parts, genus and species. This is known by the fancier term binomial nomenclature. For example, we call the bottlenose dolphin Tursiops truncatus. When identifying a subspecies, scientists use three names, or trinomial nomenclature. So, the Black Sea bottlenose dolphin's name is Tursiops truncatus ponticus. Who is in charge of naming the species? The International Commission on Zoological Nomenclature, or ICZN, is in charge of names given to new species. While the ICZN is a formal scientific body that artists and celebrities rarely interact with, chances are good that surrealist and Dada artists, such as Man Ray, and his associate Salvador Dali, an artist made famous by his images of melting clocks in the painting The Persistence of Memory, would have been delighted to see how bureaucratic organizations can serve to highlight strange and wonderful species, such as this ancient pterodactyl named after director Steven Spielberg. We'll look at more examples of wild, celebrity-named species in just a moment. As noted by J. Chester Bradley in 1961, in the preface to the first edition of the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, quote, "Like all language, zoological nomenclature reflects the history of those who have produced it and is the result of varying and conflicting practices. Some of our nomenclatural usage has been the result of ignorance, of vanity, obstinate insistence on following individual predilections, much like that of language in general, of national customs, prides, and prejudices. Ordinary languages grow spontaneously in innumerable directions, but biological nomenclature has to be an exact tool that will convey a precise meaning for persons in all generations." Unquote. This means that it's of the utmost importance that the scientific community has names they can agree on for all the different animal species. Otherwise, it would be impossible for researchers to communicate about their findings with one another and to the public. Naming a new species after a famous person can help draw more attention to the plight of endangered animals and encourage people to do more to protect the environment. If scientists do confirm they have discovered a new manta ray, it looks like they will be naming it Manta mobula Man Ray, after the great artist Man Ray. Researchers have been naming new species after their favorite celebrities for years, taking inspiration from heroes in music, television, and movies. For example, scientists discovered a new species of tarantula close to California's Folsom Prison. They decided to name the tarantula Alphanopelma Johnny Cashy, after Johnny Cash, because he recorded the famous song Folsom Prison Blues. The tarantula is black, like the style preference of Johnny the Man in Black Cash. Bazinga! After scientists discovered a tiny jellyfish species in the Brunswick River in New South Wales, they named it Bazinga rieki, after the Bazinga catchphrase, made popular by Big Bang Theory character Sheldon Cooper, played by Jim Parsons. Paleontologists found the 19-million-year-old fossilized remains of a hippo-like mammal in Wadi Mogra, located in the Egyptian desert. Based on jaw fragments they unearthed, the beast's large lips reminded a researcher of those of rock star Mick Jagger. To commemorate the discovery of this ancient animal, seen as a cross between a pig and a hippo, they named it Jagermerix naida. Scientists honored late-night talk show host Stephen Colbert by naming a new species of diving beetle, Agapomorphus colberti, after him, following its discovery in Venezuela. Lemmy Kilmister, who fronted the seminal heavy metal band Motorhead, made such an impression on scientists that they named a long-extinct species of worm after him. The creature now has the name Kalloprion Kilmisteri. Scientists discovered a horsefly and noted the golden hairs on its abdomen, which reminded them of the hairstyle of singer Beyoncé Knowles. Accordingly, they named the new species Scaptia Beyoncé in her honor. Biologists found a new frog in Peru. To celebrate Stanley Kubrick, the famous director of The Shining and Clockwork Orange, they named the new species Amplexus of Dendropsophus kubricki. Legendary singer Roy Orbison was honored when researchers named a new species of whirligig beetle after him. Found in India, the creature is now known as Oryctochelys obisinorum. Steven Spielberg, the prolific director of such hits as Jaws and Jurassic Park, was lifted into the scientific literature when researchers named an ancient flying pterodactyl after him. Dating back to the Lower Cretaceous period, this species is now known as Colborhynchus spielbergi. Rocker Ozzy Osbourne, who once bit the head off of a bat at a concert, was recognized by scientists who named a new species of bat-voiced tree frog after him. The creature's new name is Dendropsophus ozii. Clint Eastwood, famous for acting in such movies as Dirty Harry and directing classics like The Bridges of Madison County and American Sniper, was honored by scientists who named an enormous dinosaur species after him. This creature, from the early Cretaceous period, now goes by the name Uropatiton eastwoodi. Joe Strummer, lead singer from The Clash, had so impressed scientists who discovered a new species of deep-sea snail, they decided to name it after him. This aquatic animal is now known as Alvaconcha strumeri. Far Side cartoonist Gary Larson was singled out for recognition by scientists who discovered a new species of chewing louse, which only lives on owls. Because Larson's work often portrays scientists, it is fitting that researchers named this new species Strigophilus garrylarsoni. Do you want to name a new species, but you are not a research scientist? You'll be glad to know that you don't actually need to discover a new species to get to name it. The Scripps Institute of Oceanography in San Diego, California, is selling naming rights to new species discovered by its members. The starting price is $5,000. For example, for 5,000 clams, so to speak, you can buy the rights to name Pisionides, an ocean-dwelling worm, or Antone bruunia, another worm that lives in the sea. But some species are a bit pricier. A new spaghetti worm found off the coast of the Bahamas, a Binomial species, will cost you $25,000 to name. Critics see pros and cons to selling species naming rights. The International Commission on Zoological Nomenclature weighed in on the topic. Advantages of selling scientific names include getting funding to do more research into taxonomy and to help with conservation efforts. One disadvantage of selling new species naming rights is that it may be seen as distorting the scientific process. A scientist might be tempted to split a taxon into two new species to have an extra animal to name, doubling the profit made on the research work. Here's hoping that when scientists decide to name a new animal species after a celebrity, whether an artist, musician, or film star, that this will increase public awareness and help protect the lives of each creature. And the next time you encounter a manta ray at your local aquarium or in the ocean, remember the great artist Man Ray and his amazing Surrealist and Dada creations that still inspire everyone from other artists to scientists out in the world making new discoveries every day.